Hey everyone, I just wanted to stop by real quick before this podcast starts and say you should like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on all my social medias at John D. Clouser, the same name as the name that you subscribe to on this YouTube channel. So enjoy this clip, and I'll see you guys on the other side. That sounded really robotic, but that probably will work. I don't know. Just go ahead.
How did you just do that? Only in the damn hood. How did you...
Running from a dog?
Bro, I just saw you run up here and jump the gate.
Yeah.
How the fuck?
Exactly.
Hold on 1 second. Oh, God.
Let me know what's something.
Hold on, I got you. Hold on. Let me help you out.
Yes, sir. There you go. Wait.
This shit nuts. Now this crazy motherfucker done just took off running up the street.
Welcome to the John Show with your host, John Doogie Clouser.
All right. What is going on? How are you guys? How is everyone? You doing good? I'm doing great. I'm coming out hot right out of the cannon. Can you believe that? Oh, yeah. So what's going on? So we're here on a new episode of the Juan Solo Show. This is what, episode 87. Holy shit. Every time I do this, every week, I'm always like, dude, I begin this. I'm like, because I could easily start this show when I record this. I could easily start this like a good, no joke. I'm doing this right now at it's like 6:30, like 6:25, 6:30ish. I could have easily started this at like 5:30. But I sit around, I procrastinate. I'm just like, well, why? Like, well, I'm going to sit here and do this. It's like, dude, then I'm always like, and there's always a point where I'm drinking some water and I'm looking up at the ceiling because, you tilt your head back to like drink some water. And I'm like, right now you could be talking and you could probably be like 10 minutes, 13 minutes into your show. Instead, you're just sitting here literally pacing. It's insane. It's the dumbest thing in the world. I am one of the biggest procrastinators. And then when I start doing shit, all it takes is like the first couple moments doing it. I'm like, all right, well, this is kind of where the moment's going to be, dude. You're kind of going to sit here. You're going to do it. It was always like, what was always so awesome was like when I played sports was that I always had the same exact feeling all the time, right before every game. And then, or every event. But the thing is, like, what happened is like there was a herd that I got pushed into. So it just like all those nerves just went away. But when you're by yourself, you're like, well, you set the camera up by yourself, you set the lights up by yourself, you set up the whole desk and everything like that, the stuff that you can't see all by yourself. And then you're just kind of like, it's done. Well, you did your like little plug intro thing. And then now you're sitting here. Then I'll walk around, just walk back and forth. I'm like, the kind of just saying what I want to say, kind of doing the thing. It's like, I'm like, is this really the preparation that I have to do? I feel like I could do this in a lot easier time. There's a lot easier way of doing this. Maybe that's what I'm thinking, because I think that's been on my mind a lot, is like just like preparation of doing shit. And I think I'm so angry with myself because usually my weekends, I'm always like, dude, we're going to fucking haul ass and we're going to get a lot of shit done. This weekend, I've done nothing. I usually get like the Craigslist misconnection video done. I have, at this point, because it's like 6:30, then I usually have like the show already done, like this podcast, because it's Monday. It's Monday night. It's crazy. I usually have this done on Friday. And it was just, this whole week was just an insane week with things I was doing that I wasn't able, everything got just fucking shoved back. It was insane. So I guess that's a good segue into a new thing that is going on with my life, and I'm gonna be I was trying to like think of like some like flamboyant word to use to describe that I'm just gonna be really busy in the next coming weeks. I'm gonna have to be a lot more. I'm gonna have to be a lot more of a stinge when it comes to like my time and trying to figure out how to like set things up and get things done, because it's gonna be an insane thing. So I guess I can tell you. So let's rewind back about 2 weeks ago. So about 2 weeks ago, I got a message on Instagram from a buddy of mine, and we went to school together, film school, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna start working on this new project. and he actually lives in Iowa right now, but then he's going to be coming down he goes to school in Iowa, and he's going to be coming down to Kansas City and stuff like that, doing some like research thing. It'll make sense in a second. So he messaged me and said, "Hey dude, I'm going to start doing this like research documentary movie." And so I'm like, I heard like you worked on a movie, and I'm going to need you to work on another one. I'm like, all right, let's do this. Let's do this shit. I mean, like, let's like, kind of tell me this stuff, and let's get doing it. Cause I get super excited. I'm like, you need an assistant director. Let's do it. And he was like, okay, this is what I'm going to need. This research thing is going to be about like this, like just the behavior of like humans and like our society as like male and female, or, different genders and stuff like that. I'm like, oh. And I was like, I don't know if I really want to do this. I don't know if this is really my, and I'm like, okay, I'm like, continue. Cause he's like pitching me this idea, and he's like, like we're going to study about like how different people interact with each other and like the different ways that we communicate now, because like we don't communicate normally just through like interacting like just meeting people on the street. We don't really like do that anymore, and we can't do that because of COVID. So the thing is like we're slowly becoming a new pod of people, because the generation because of COVID is going to be flipped. It's going to be changed a bit, and because of that we have to find different ways to communicate with each other, and have to find different ways to like, what you can say, like, have sex, interact with like, interact with other people who are the same, like people who we know, because we can't go and have like normalcy and like the things that we did with that. And like, now versus like, COVID, and then what we used to do. And it's going to be just like a study of like these three branches. And I'm like, okay, okay, maybe we can do this. And, he's just like, basically what we're going to do is we're going to have like we're going to have studies. We're going to have people who are going to be our models. And we're going to take pictures of them. We're going to post, like, we're going to make profiles of them on dating websites and stuff like that. And we're going to like just flood it out and see what happens. And we're going to see versus male versus female, all that stuff, different genders, all different genders. Also like that. I'm just saying like those two, and then the things that sprinkle down from it. I know. I don't know this. This is not, again, not my project. I'm just trying to tell you guys like a blanket, like a quick brush stroke of what I'm working on. And anyway, I'm probably even telling you too much than I should be telling you. But anyway, I feel like there was something I needed to plug into my computer, but I didn't plug it in, so it doesn't really matter. So anyway, I'm working on that, and it's like, again, the early stages. So this is all like pre-production stuff. And so he's like, hey, these are the people we're going to work on. This is the people that we need to get pictures. Hey, can you get like some models? I need you to get like 3 models, 3 males, 3 females, take some pictures, take them out in the middle, like go and do it in a studio. I'll pay for it. Like, rent out a studio, do some photos in a studio, go out into like the streets and take some photos out in the streets, do that kind of thing at, monuments, those kind of things, make it look like these are real people, And so it's been weird. So I've literally had to Google like people doing activities. So like people eating dinner. I've literally Googled people eating dinner, seen stock photos, and I'm like, okay, well, now I need to go and take fucking pictures of that. Boom. And I just go do it. And like, okay, pictures of people in the studio. I'm like, just kind of an idea of what I want to do is like, because I want to see like profiles. I want to see what people like, what looks real. Now I have to mimic realness. I'm over here with nothing, with a blank canvas. And I'm making a fake thing look real. It's the most insane thing in the world. So I'm like, okay. So it's been a lot of that. And it's been insane because I'm like, okay, this is cool. I like that. Okay, I'm going to have to get those lights. I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to rent that. I'm going to have to get that lens. If you can't tell, super excited about it. It's stressful, but I'm like super amped by the whole thing, like talking about it. But it's one of the these things I've realized. I'm like, okay, is this kind of like how my career is going to be for right now? Is like, am I going to be like in my late 20s to early 30s? Am I going to be just working on documentaries? Is this all I'm going to be doing? Like, it's easy. It's not hard, but it's just like, oh my God, another documentary. I'm like, okay, I can do it. Like, I'd rather do features, but I like the work. I love the work, but I'd rather do features. So because it's just like the disconnect. I don't want to be. I want to be able to go like live in a world, like live in reality. Have that, do that, and then I go on set and I'm filming some make believe stuff of a story that I just wrote or that got written, and I'm like just given the script and you just make this movie. Like that's what I'd rather do. Than sit and then like, okay, well, I'm studying like reality. This is like all realisticness. And so like I'm going and I'm walking away from this, going back to reality, then going and working in reality. No, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. Again, love the work. Now, is this like the end all be all? No. And that's what that's the one thing I do like to think that the positive thing about it is that my 5-year goal isn't what I'm doing right now. But this is a huge stepping stone into where I'm going to be in 5 years. Because I'm just entering now into the stage of like, okay, I feel like I'm feeling now understanding my craft. And now it's like, now just pump out shit. Pump it all out. Make it just do it. Just pump it all out and just get it going. And just get on projects as much as you can. If you can get on things, and that's what's so crazy about. Do you guys hear about the most recent thing about Alec Baldwin and how he was okay? So there was a lot more stuff that I learned about this whole thing that occurred. So Alec Baldwin is working on a new movie in New Mexico. New Mexico is slowly becoming one of like the new Los Angeles, and it's simply because the fact that it looks like a desert. It is a desert, and it's not as expensive as to film in Los Angeles. Like anywhere in California, it's super expensive to film because they know that it looks like, because you can go anywhere. You can go like an hour outside of Los Angeles and it looks like a completely different place. It looks like the Rocky Mountains. There's Big Bear, and you can just film in Big Bear, and you can get away with saying that this is like the Rocky Mountains, and you just get a still shot from the Rocky Mountains, or you get some sort of you buy the rights to a shot, or you go, if you really wanted to, if your budget was big enough, you'd go fly and get shots in the Rocky Mountains, and then you just take those and put those as establishing shots, and you should cut to on Big Bear and doing your scene. But it's been dude, even when I was in film school, from 2008, well, I guess winter or the summer of 2008 to was it the summer of 2012? I was in film school. Even then, like, they were talking about how New Mexico is like gonna become the new Los Angeles. Dude, it's been going for a long, long time. And like, so it's like no shock to me that like, oh, they're filming in New Mexico. Like, yeah, because it's fucking cheap as shit there. And like the taxes you get, the write-offs you can able to do are greater than filming in Los Angeles, because you have to pay a huge tax to the city of Los Angeles, because that's how one of the big ways that Los Angeles gets money is through the film thing. So they're like, well, we're going to be getting a little taste of every production that gets shot through here. So that's just what that's what happens. That's what they do. And so they're filming in New Mexico, and this is like the third time I've said that. And so what happens is like, so I even worked on a movie back in the summer of 2010. I worked on a movie, and we had guns on it, and they were all fake. No one even touched, like, I guess I take that back. The main character touched a fake gun. He pulled it from his pocket and up, like, but we had a Wrangler. We had a gun Wrangler on set, and I even had to go and pick up the guns, and I had to, like, when I picked up the guns, I had 2 briefcases. And this is the only reason I know this is because I was a production coordinator for the movie. And so this is why I know this, is that there's two briefcases. There's one with the loaded guns that can actually be shot, or can actually be loaded and shot. And then there's the guns that are prop guns that are the exact, basically what you want to do is you try to get a copy of the same kind so you can do your shots. But sometimes you don't. But as long as you have a gun in your hand and it looks realistic, you can shoot around it and make it look realistic. It's a great thing about filmmaking. It's called magic. It's called art. That's what you got to do. You got to find creative ways to tell the story without actually showing the thing. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to cheat it, like Jaws. So anyway, like there's so many things. And then once you have the guns on set, once you have the things, you have them, you have a guy who always carries them around, and like they're always things, and like then like you have him, and he has another person who checks him, and then you're told, the actors are told like, hey, this is what kind of gun, like a gun, a pop gun that will like actually will make a shot, or this is just a prop gun where this is just dead. It's a dead gun or a cold gun, whichever way you want to say it, where it's in your hand. It's as real. It weighs the same amount as like a pistol. And it does the same thing. So if you pull the trigger, it's gonna click back. It's gonna shoot, but nothing's gonna come out. And it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. And so you're told. You tell these actors all this stuff, and then even when you hand it to them, you even check again to make sure. Like the process that goes through this is insane that you have to go through. It is and the reason why is because of what happened was because Alec Baldwin was given a gun, and they said that this was a cold gun. So he pretended to be as a real gun. So he did the shots, and he killed the camera person, and then he injured the director. So it's insane, because a lot more things I just found out, I found out today, was that like a couple people quit like days coming up to like the filming of the scene that was going to occur. They quit because like there was just a lot of mishandling of safety. I believe there was COVID stuff too, but the third thing I think it had to be maybe like room and board. Yeah, room and board, because like they said they're going to be staying in in Albuquerque, but they end up having to stay like an hour outside, like an hour outside of Albuquerque, and so every day they had to drive an hour, so they would be done filming, which was like a 12-13 hour day, and then they had to drive an hour. And then in the morning, they had to wake up an hour extra early because they had to get up because they had to drive to set, which is an hour away. It's what you have to do for film sometimes, because it's the cheapest thing to do, even though you realize that like even burning the gas is cheaper than having them stay in like the city that you're filming in. Filmmaking is one of the most insane things. People wonder, like, it's absurd and it's crazy that anything gets made. It's insane that any of like the adventure movies get made because of all the people that have to between day 14 and day 18, what we have to do is we're going to be filming in bumfuck someplace, the apartments or the hotels cost like $200. But if we just go like maybe like keep everyone out like maybe like 50 minutes away, then like we can save like $150, and so like that like 50 extra bucks that we could like that $50 we could spend on gas both ways every day. And it's like, what the fuck? It's like, and you do things like that, and it's like, it's what you have to do to make sure this movie gets made, because the biggest thing is like most of the money has to get put to the movie. That's how it works. And so, and what's so awesome, especially like being able to be someone who've worked their way up and like being like a third director, a second to the second director, which is basically a third director. I don't know why they just don't call it a third director. Being an assistant director and like even directing my own stuff, like you see these things and you have to understand. And like then working on the producing side of my last film job and seeing like that aspect, you see like how everything has to counterbalance with each other. It's just an insane thing that happens with the whole thing. But yeah, it's so the camera person was killed. She was shot and she was killed. Now there's a whole investigation on the whole process of it. What's going on, or what happened? Because clearly this wasn't the first incident, I guess, on site. This is all alleged, of course. Please remember, this is all alleged. Do your own research. This is like what I did, and I'm just saying from what I can remember. Alleged. Please remember, it's all alleged. But yeah, it's just it's a weird time, especially because like it's all weird because of COVID and all that stuff. So like everyone's weird with like trying to film, and then add on to the fact that like now there's like this shooting, and it's like, well, One of the great things about film school is that they try to keep you away from doing stuff like that because of things like this. So you don't have to spend extra money on this stuff because you can't cut corners on certain projects, on certain things. Like if you're filming a scene where a plane is flying, I don't know, you're most likely going to CGI this, but again, you can't cut corners on the CGI. You have to spend a lot of money on it because it has to look realistic or it doesn't work. It's like, then what is the point of doing everything else if you're not going to make this epic point look realistic? It's just, that's what it is. But, it's just, it's filmmaking. It's what you do for the craft, for the art of the world, A lot of people, I think, they just think that you set up a tripod, and then you just push play, and that's it. I assume that's probably what a lot of people think. Like, people don't even think like this when I'm filming it. This here, it's lit. There's a lighting. I have lights. I do a 3-point lighting system with it. There's how many? 4. There's 4 lights. There's 2 here and then 2 over here that are coming down. They're shooting lights down at me. 100 watts per. So I have 400 watts shooting down at me right now at 500K Kelvin. That's what the K stands for, Kelvin. That's how light is measured, is by kelvins. So 5,000 kelvins is pure daylight, and I believe if you want to do a movie, if you want to be super technical, I think it's 670, but I have to look that up. 6,700, 6,700. I believe that's what it is. I'm not for sure. So yeah, if there's anyone if there's anyone listening to me ramble right now, then that's what it is. But yeah, it's a good time, or a bad time too. That's a weird thing because the whole filmmaking thing that's going on, and then the whole 007 movie came out, and I'm still waiting because this weekend I'm going to finally get to go see the Last Duel. I've been waiting to see this because fucking Matt Damon in a mullet. Why don't you want to see Matt Damon in a mullet? It doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you not want to see this? Adam Driver. When I had long hair, I once had someone tell me I look like Adam Driver, which I'm like, that I don't know if that's a compliment. I don't think that is. But yeah, we're here. Yeah. I just read one of the things I wrote down. I'm like, that is kind of true. So I wrote down, I was hanging out. I hang out, sometimes I hang out with my buddies, and they bring their girlfriends. And my friends' girlfriends want to play drinking games. They're like, let's play this drinking game. And I'm like, no. And I'm like, and then I quickly remember why I just smoke pot, because pot people don't, people who smoke pot don't have games to it. They just find different weird ways to smoke the pot. I remember once I was walking down the street in Los Angeles down Santa Monica, and this guy was sitting on a park bench, and he was smoking pot from a pipe drain. He crafted from a pipe drain, the ones that go the S drain, I'm assuming, or the curved drain, because apparently if you have that, then it doesn't, the smells don't come up, I guess. I don't know why, because of the curve. And anyway, so he had that, and he was smoking it, and he smoked it, and then he looked at me. He's like, you wanted some of it? I'm like, no, thank you, sir. But the fact that you asked me was awesome. And I kept on walking, but it was okay, interesting times. That was a good time. Living man, the time when I was living in West Hollywood, because I was over in West Hollywood area, because it was Santa Monica, and I can't remember what the street name was. Santa Monica, and I guess it would be Fairfax. I was living on Sunset and Fairfax. I used to live on Sunset and Fairfax, and then I also used to live on Sunset and Crescent Heights. Or Crescent Heights and Sunset. I don't know, either one. It is, or there's another street, and then there was Fairfax, and then what was, I can't remember the other one. Yeah, because it was Sunset and Fairfax and Sunset and Crescent Heights. That's what it was. Crescent Heights. God, I can't remember. I can't believe I remember all these. Yeah, Crescent Heights. Crescent Heights. Yeah, because that's like over in the Jewish area of Los Angeles. Like, because there's like literally like 3 buildings down the street was like a synagogue, and it was always when I was walking to the gym, because I lived maybe like 3 blocks away from my gym. It was the greatest place. It was like the fact that like I was paying $500 for rent on Sunset and Fairfax. $500 for rent on Sunset and Fairfax. I'm about to blow someone's mind here. So I was paying $500 there, and I lived 3 blocks away from my gym. And the funny thing is, like, the only crazy thing that would always happen was that when I would be walking to the gym, there would always be a group of Jewish people, and they'd always come up and ask me, like, "Hey, are you Jewish?" And I'd always have to tell them no, because what they're doing is they're looking for 10 Jewish people to pray, to do a prayer. And I'm like, if I get stuck in this, like, I'm going to be here for hours. It's going to be a long time. And I'm like, I don't got time for that. I got to go to work out. I got to go to work. I got to do other things. But yeah, that was like the only like crazy thing that would ever happen when I was living there on Sunset and Crescent Heights. And they were always like super watching on everything. Like, if you do that, like anything got misplaced or got put out of place, they were like, why did that happen? And it was like, and I remember why. Yeah, and I remember why now, like why I'm like so anal about everything, like where places are set, because it's just it's weird. I just had like a weird little flashback on that. But so we have like a little bit under 3 minutes and 45 seconds, right? So remember how we were going to do that 2-minute drill? Well, what we're going to do is it's almost going to be a 3.5 minute drill, or until yeah. But anyway, so if you're not familiar with this, or you didn't check out last week's episode, so every week I'm a huge fan of football. I'm wearing a Chiefs hat right now. I'm a Chiefs fan. I'm also a Rams fan. Rams are number 1, Chiefs are number 2, but they're in 2 different divisions, so I feel like it's okay, because you should always. I feel like as if you're a real NFL fan, I love all teams. I love all of them. Sadly, I love all of them. Some of them I dislike because it's so funny to dislike them, because it's like. If like the Raiders, I really strongly dislike the Raiders just because of Chiefs. I really like the Chiefs a lot, so it's a huge rivalry. So I still like their jerseys. I think the Raiders have one of the coolest jerseys, the black with the silver pants. I think one of the coolest setups ever. But I just love football, and so the 2-minute drill is like basically my predictions of how the games are going to go this week, and a little bit of like my thoughts and feelings about like the games I watched. Anyway, so we'll start on it. Like I said, you should. But if you're a real NFL fan, I think it's okay to have a fan of like the NFC and the AFC. So AFC team, Chiefs, NFC, Rams. Used to be in the same state, now not in the same state. California, used to live in Los Angeles. All that stuff, everything's connected. I actually got to play when they were the St. Louis Rams. I got to play on their football field. For a state championship, and I won it. So I naturally will always have a connection to that team because of that. And I changed in their state, in like their locker room and all that stuff. So it's like, dude, it's like, yeah, this has to be a team. This has to be one of my teams. Always been a team. Even when I was a little kid, like my parents, I had like signatures from the cheerleaders, like a picture of the cheerleaders and like their signatures, and a bunch of like autograph stuff from all the players. But anyway, let's start this. So Thursday Night Football will be the Packers versus the Cardinals. Oh, this will be a good game. I'm going to say the Packers will beat the Cardinals, and that will be the first loss of the Cardinals season. The final score will be, I'm going to say this is going to be a low scoring game. I'm going to say 19-16, Green Bay. So next game will be the Tennessee Titans versus the Colts. So Titans versus the Colts. I'm gonna have to say Titans by 2 touchdowns. Colts they like to play from behind, and they're really good at it. But the thing is, like, you're gonna be playing a team that's like very dedicated defensively and very dedicated to the run game, and they're gonna slam the shit out of it. If they do that, they will slam it down your throat. And the fact that they beat the shit out of the fucking Chiefs, I saw it firsthand. It was insane. Next game, the Bengals versus the Jets. I'm going to say Bengals. This is going to be by 2 touchdowns. I'm going to say, let's say 21, maybe 21-7, 6, 21-3 maybe at that. I don't see the Jets doing shit. Next game will be Eagles versus Lions. Oh, poorly say Lions. They are fucking so bad this year. I got 22 seconds left. I need to get better at this. I really do need to get better at this. I'm going to say Eagles by a touchdown, 14-17. It's going to be a shitty game, but it's going to be another way. The Lions will find another way to lose. Or maybe, should I just continue this anyway? You know what? I'm just going to continue this. We're going to stop this. All I have to do is just stop the camera, right? All right, so we're back now. So we're back telling the rest of the 2-minute drill. I'm going to get better at this. Anyway, so the next game will be 49ers versus the Bears. So 49ers are really not that good this year. The Browns are not going to be really good this year. So I'm going to say it's going to be an overtime. And the Bears will win by a field goal because they'll kick a field goal. They'll get the ball first. They'll kick a field goal. And then the 49ers will try to go down. They'll get down to like the 5-yard line. It'll be like 4th and 5, and they will get stopped. And then that's how the game will go. Next game is the Jaguars versus the Seahawks. This is going to be interesting just because the fact that the Jaguars are coming off of a bye and the fact that they just won in London. But the Seahawks also have Geno Smith as their backup right now because I believe Wilson will still be out because of his fucked up finger. If you didn't see that, you should definitely Google that. I'm going to say this is going to be really close because the fucking defense for the Seahawks is not good at all this year. Let's say 20. Oh, I'm gonna roll the dice here because I'm gonna say a kind of a slightly high scoring game, but just because the defense are not gonna be that good either way. Either way, the defense are not gonna be good. I'm gonna say it's gonna be 28 Jaguars, 21 Seahawks. That's how the game will go. Regulation time. Next game will be Washington and Broncos. So these are the clash of the two teams that you think. When the season started, I really did think that these two teams were going to have a good chance of being good. And I was kind of actually worried because of the fact that like the Chiefs play in the same division as the Broncos. And with that, I was like, oh man, I just do not know how good the Chiefs are because how the Chiefs have been playing. They're so up and down this year. And I think that's a lot because of the fact of like just mental shit. We'll get to that in a second though. But this one I will say Washington by 3 in the last they'll win by 3, so they'll win let's say again 19-16. They will win in regulation at the buzzer. Next game we have the Giants versus the Chiefs. Crazy about this is like it's Monday Night Football and I'm going to be actually at that game because I am a fan, and actually the fact that one of my friends got an extra ticket and he's like, hey dude, you want this ticket? I'm like, I want that ticket. And he's like, I need to know 100% that you're in. And I'm like, dude, I'm in. Like I'm gonna be there, and we're gonna have so much fun. So we're gonna tailgate. And the fact it's Monday, and I don't have to work that day, so we're gonna be able to tailgate early. We're gonna have fun. I'm gonna get hammered. So check out my Instagram for that. So yeah, but this one, this is the fact that like the Chiefs have been so up and down. I'm gonna say the Chiefs will win by a touchdown. It's gonna be close most of the game. I'm gonna assume it's gonna be the same as the first quarter, the first half of the second half of the Titans versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs will still be slightly flat. They're gonna be flat. They're gonna play with how the Giants play. They're gonna fill them out, and it's gonna take halftime until halftime adjustments. They're going to come out. Chiefs are going to win by 2 touchdowns. I'm going to say, let's say 35, just because the defense are pretty fucking bad for the Giants. 35 to, let's say 21. I'm going to say that. The Chiefs defense will give up at least 21, but they're going to have 2 good stands in the third quarter, and that's what's going to be able to withhold, and that's what's going to be able to get that, at least that cushion, so then they're going to be able to win that game. I still have a lot of hope for the Chiefs. It's growing pains. It's season 4, dude. Patrick Mahomes took the Chiefs to literally almost to the Super Bowl 3 years in a row. I'm until he has a complete shit season, and then we have to sit back for a whole offseason and think about what's going on. Until then, I'm going to be on his side. I'm going to believe that they're going to be able to pull this out, and he's young, and it's what's going to happen. People are going to figure you out. They're going to figure you out, and it's just part of the game. That's what happens. So that's what you have to do. We have to move on. Next game, Cowboys Vikings. I'm going to say, Cowboys defense has been looking really good this year, so I'm going to have to say, and the Vikings are just kind of I don't really dislike or like the Vikings. They're just there for me. So I'm going to say Cowboys 28, Vikings 7. It's going to be a pretty big blowout. It's going to be a big enough game and a big enough lead that McCarthy, the coach of the Cowboys, he's not going to fucking do some dumb shit and fucking lose the game for him. I cuss a lot in this because I have a lot of feelings in this for no reason. It's just this is my This is my like Bachelor or Bachelorette or Love Island. This is my stuff. This is my thing. I wait all year for this. So the next game is Buccaneers versus Saints. This is going to be an interesting game because it is a divisional game. And it's going to be weird to see. Like, can Winston play with Brady? Brady's just on fire. You would think, dude, the guy just passed for his 600th touchdown in the last game. Like, so what do you expect? Like, I don't know. I don't know. What else do you expect from this guy? Like, he's a madman. I'm gonna say this is gonna be a close game though, just because of the fact that the rivalry between it, just because of the fact that like Brady, the Saints, that kind of thing, they kind of see each other. They play each other, and I'm gonna say this is gonna be a close one, 28-21. Buccaneers. They'll still win though. Next game, the Patriots versus the Chargers. Interesting. This will be a very interesting game because of the fact that Chargers, they're in the division of the Chiefs, so I don't really want them to do the greatest in the world at all. And then the Patriots are just so up and down. But the Patriots just beat the shit out of the Jets this past week. It was like 53-6 or something like close to that. It was roughly around there. This one I still will think though will be because these are still we're getting into like heavy. We're getting the thick of the game of the weeks, and we're getting the. I feel like there's two seasons. There's 2 seasons in football. There's before Thanksgiving and there's after Thanksgiving. So like we're hitting almost the end of Thanksgiving. So. And so with it was so crazy. My phone just turned. It was so but with that, like we're in the thick of the first half of the season, and so like these games are gonna be really close because people are still trying to iron out a lot of wrinkles, and they're trying to figure out what they're gonna do on 3rd and long. They're gonna try to figure out what they're gonna do on second and 6 now because they have like their personnel injuries. Things happen. They're not the same team as they were week 1. So a lot of these games are really close. And I think the same thing with this game is really close as well. So Patriots will win just because I think Belichick will just have Herbert because he'll just have Herbert's number. It'll be 21-14 Patriots. Next game, big game, Rams. Texans, not a big game because Rams are kind of on a hot streak, and that's my other team. That's my main team, and I feel like they're playing against the Texans. Texans are not that good. Like they have so much riffraff going on right now with the whole Deshaun Watson stuff. So I'm gonna have to say this one will be a pretty easy game for the Rams. Hopefully, they're not gonna come out and do a lot of dumb shit because of like this past game when they played against the Lions. They fucked up a lot of because like. The Lions were able to get like onside kicks. They were able to do like fake punts and get first downs. And like I don't think a lot of that stuff's going to happen. They're going to really harper a lot of that kind of stuff. Like McVay's not a big. He's not. He does not like when dumb shit like that happens because he feels like he gets embarrassed. He's young still. He's 35, 36. So he's one of the younger guys in the league as a coach. So he's basically like roughly my age. So like people are like, bro, like. Yeah, this kind of shit happens to a team who's with a young coach because like they don't know all the the wrinkles yet. They haven't ironed out all that stuff. So when those things happen, he gets really angry. He gets super upset because he feels like he gets embarrassed, and he doesn't like that because he's working with a lot of seniors, a lot of older men that have been there, done that, and this like, okay, little boy, whatever. But I will say the Rams will win this one pretty easily. I'm gonna say 35 to like maybe like 10, maybe 10. I'll give them a touchdown. I'll give the Texans a touchdown and then a field goal. And the field goal will be late. Very late. Next game. Ooh, this is a good game. The Steelers versus the Browns. Ooh, this would be a very good game. So I'm going to straight up say like the score right now because like I'm not a big whatever fan with other one. Like they're cool teams. I like the jerseys and that's about it. Besides that, like I don't really know much about the history. I don't follow them much. Steelers, you could say that they are one of the top ones with the most Super Bowls. They have like 6. They have 4 Super Bowls, and then they have 2 of the AFL Super Bowls. So like, they're pretty. I don't know why there's like the one sport that doesn't connect both of them because they should all be they should all be collected as one source of championships because that's what the NBA does. NBA, they count the old ABA and they count the NBA championships as one. So that's why the Lakers have so many fucking championships because they count the ABA championships. But we're not gonna get into that. This one I'm gonna say it'll be close. It's going to go to the wire. It's going to be, let's say, 23-20. Steelers. I think the Steelers will win that game. Next game is the Dolphins versus the Bills. So now this is the crazy thing. So the Dolphins have been dealing a lot with the fact that a lot of rumors of the fact that like Deshaun Watson is going to be traded to them by the end of the deadline, which is coming up pretty soon. I believe it's November 1st or the 6th is the deadline because I think it might be the end of that week. But so if that happens, like I don't think he can play, but they will at least like the Talua, I can't remember his name. His era at the Dolphins is done. I think the best he's going to probably do after that will be lucky as a backup. If not, he'll be done out of the league in a couple years. After that, he'll probably be done in like most 3 years. If he's lucky, 3. Last one will be the Panthers versus the Falcons. Okay, so this is going to be a weird game because I follow these teams, but I really don't know much about like the Falcons. They're so shitty, but they have such a great tight end from Florida, which I cannot remember his name. And the Panthers are so broken right now. They have, Dalton, the guy from USC, Daniels. And but then the McCaffrey's injured. So who knows what's going on? Who knows with all that stuff? I think this one's going to be a lot closer than what you think. It's probably very low scoring. I'm going to say this is going to be 13-10. So a lot of field goals, a lot of nothing going on this whole game. 13-10 Panthers. I think the Falcons will still find a way to lose this game somehow with their defense. All right, guys. Well, I've talked for like an extra, 13 minutes? You got an extra 13 minutes of me this week, but that's mostly just of football. I just like football a lot, and I could talk about it for a long ass time. Anyway, bye. I'm going to have fun. I get to go to Monday Night Football next week. So, what's up? And I just finished this game just in time enough to go and turn Monday Night Football on while I edit this thing so I can upload it for tomorrow. All right, I'll see you guys in the next episode. And follow me on all my social medias at John D. Clouser, all that stuff. All right, bye.